Audio Hour 166. This is a weekly podcast where we discuss all things game audio. Yo, hello. Hey, we're live. Welcome. This is Game Audio Hour 166. This is a weekly podcast where we discuss all things game audio, from creative ideas to late audio secrets. Here's where you find your in-depth coverage and opinions related to audio. It's just me today. I am here. Everybody is busy. They're working hard. Kyle's working hard. Mike Shapiro's working hard. Diamante is working hard. Alex May's working hard. Dan Reynolds is working hard. Everybody's working hard. So I will be answering some of your questions today as best as I can. And we're going to get started with some stuff. Feel free to submit your questions to the tweet or anything like that. And hey, Michael Hoffman, you see you in the chat room too. It's just us, so we can chat it up. Let me know what you want to hear me answer for you, or if you want to have some kind of dialogue back and forth. I'm going to try and do the show solo for an hour. This is my run. I've been doing pretty well. Had a very interesting weekend. I went doing a little photo shoot over the weekend with my girlfriend in Santa Barbara. I'm sorry, no, we went to Barbados. I don't know why I thought it's the two things, but you'll see it. It doesn't matter. But before then, I played some games. I studied a little bit of game audio and of that nature. And let's see, what else? What else did I do? Excuse me. I got some rest. And also, I set up GDC appointments or meetups with people, so I could kind of get the idea of when I'm going to have my schedule to maybe meet up with everybody that's going to be there, or things of that nature. If you're going to GDC, hey Daniel Kim, if you're going to GDC, you want to set up meetings with people the best way you can. There is a couple different ways you can do so. I think if you've been there before, you can at least reach out to your network of business cards, maybe some people you've met at other conventions, and say, hey, do you want to meet up, to kind of, catch up with a personal feeling, maybe get some lunch, maybe get some drinks of that nature, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of like what I've been up to for that. I do have a show set up for you guys today. I'm not just coming in here hanky panky. I got some little game audio news that I want to cover. And I want to start off with Krotos Weaponiser. I just downloaded it, by the way. I saw it. I just got back home today. So I'm going to start work on the project, doing some sound design and some music and whatnot, updating my reel. But Krotos Weaponiser. And I will put the link in the show notes for this episode. If any of you have tried it or checked it out, at least, it looks pretty cool. Basically, it's like a standalone, or it might be a plugin, whereas like plugin, that's in the sense. So it's where you can create like weapons of your choice in terms of like layering. It has like pitch, it has a little bit of stretching. So what is that word called? I forgot that word. Oh man. Granulization. I had to think about it for a second. So granulization, it has that in there. I believe right now it's on sale I'm on the website right now. I'm looking at it right now. And you get a free 10-day demo with 75 weapon recordings, 4 weapons, 220 sweeteners, 12 impulse responses, and 90 presets. So that's pretty good for 10 days. You can go like ham. You can go as hard as you want with that. I highly recommend giving it a shot. Check it out. If you're going to GDC, they're going to be there. Talk to them. I believe it's Orpheus is going to be he's the pretty much the guy in like charge, and he kind of created the company. So talk to him, talk to some of the other Krotos team. They've done other stuff. They've done Dehumanizer, and they also have done another product called, Reformer. So they're working on some really cool stuff. I'm going to read the description here just a little bit. So Weaponiser gets you started with an introductory library of professionally recorded weapons, carefully designed presets with high-end real-time synthesis and unparalleled sound quality, making it the ultimate go-to tool for creating dynamic assets. So that's right off the bat pretty cool. I would kind of maybe compared to S Layer, which is by Twisted Tools, which is something I love and is great. But I'm definitely gonna give this a shot because I actually have a lot of sound effects I have to do for a couple projects, so I'm gonna be trying this out. It seemed pretty cool, especially when you need gun sound effects, and it seems like I've seen a lot of independent developers needing gun sound effects lately and some other things of that nature. So it's about $279. It's originally like $400. So it's about, I don't know, what is that, like almost 30%, I think, off or something a little more around there. Go to krotosaudio.com. That's KROTOS audio.com and check out their newest software that they have right now. It seems pretty cool. I definitely blindsided me. I got the email and I was like, "What? This is super cool." And like I said, they do other things that has been really awesome, like Dehumanizer 2, and Reformer of that nature. So Weaponizer definitely was a nice surprise. So that's the latest with some game audio news there that I want to touch on. I don't know if any of you guys have Michael or Daniel in the chat, if you guys have used that, or if you guys heard of that before, let me know. Let me let's get your opinion about it or something like that while we're on here. I'm gonna move on for now. And let's see. Uh let's see, don't forget it if you Yes, Daniel Kim made a good point. So if you're a student, you be able to reach out to some of these software devs and tell them that you can get a cool discount. And from that, you definitely want to use it, play it up to your advantage. So students out there watching the show, whatnot, that's a really good tip. I definitely highly recommend that. I use my studio ID. I abused the ID. Let's just say that. I saved up, I abused the ID, I got what I could, and it definitely comes in handy. So you can get some good stuff out of it too. See, Michael Hoffman says he messed with the Demonizer at their GDC booth last year. Yeah, I try to visit them every year if I can. I at least try to just check them out, say hello, show my face, and then see what's going on. I should be wearing their T-shirt right now instead of wearing PlayStation, but yeah, I'll see them soon. I've just set up an appointment, so I'm probably gonna check out what they got going on. Interestingly enough, though, I want to point you guys to another thing that's actually comparable or maybe a little bit superior, Varantic. And Varantic by Six again, it's been doing some really cool stuff recently. They're always at GameStop Con. They're probably going to be at GDC as well. And they do something a little bit similar, not just specialize in weapons, but you could do almost with like any type of work that you want to like create multiple sounds or assets for. And I'll give you a little bit of a breakdown about what they do. So let's see, we're here on the giganticsoftware.com. It's a sound synthesis technology. So it's saying when you can create endless variations from only a small set of input sound effects. And if you need like 100 gravel footsteps, if you need like a unique laser gun, it can do that. And all you got to do, it has a really nice user interface. You can drag and drop the sounds into the software, and you load it up, and to give it its file name, you tell its location and the format and the sample type, and then you can select a duration. So I want it like maybe 0.5 seconds to maybe like almost like a minute or something, or a second, like so less than half a second to like about a second. And you can set the duration in there, and you can pinpoint the exact amount. You can preview it before you export it, which is super powerful. And then you can tell it, I want 200 of these, and then it will spit out 200 of those. And it's like, whoa, like there are going to be different iterations of the sound, so you don't have to do them by each individual one that you would do in your DAW. So it would take you less than half of the time and saves you a lot of time. So that is a really cool technology. I don't know if we touched about that before on any other episode, but I definitely wanted to point people in that direction as well about giving you guys some options in terms of, well, maybe Weaponiser is for you, but Varantic is in that nature, and you can see what works best. So make sure you check out the software called Varantic. That's Varantic by Gigantic, big gigantic, El Gigante software.com. And I believe the indie subscription here, and I'm gonna check out we got some cool rates. Check this out. So you can do it as low as $19 per month. That's really cheap. That's almost that's $4 cheaper than a Netflix account. You guys, I know you guys are out there being lazy watching those Netflix. Well, not being lazy. Maybe you're doing it for research, right? Maybe you're doing it for research, but I know that you guys are watching stuff, and $4 more and get you a nice little Varantic subscription stuff. You can make all the sounds you want in the world. You're making tons of different things and get more stuff out of it. And it's like, yes, more sounds. We all need more great sounds, right? So check their stuff out, see how it is, and have fun. So moving on, we're going to cover in the news today. Wwise has come out with a new update. It seems this just came out today, fresh off the press, including the Unity and Unreal 4.174 integrations. And so if you go to wwise.com, let me see if this link still works. audiokinetic.com. I want to be clear. You can download Wwise and check out the latest things that are going on there in terms of what they have to offer, especially it has Unity and Unreal integrations to offer as well, because we're all working somewhat with middleware if we can, if possible, if the developers let us, if they have the budget, please have the budget, then it's going to be good. But the new update has come out today. And also, I don't know if you guys search the game hashtag game audio Twitter, but I think a book came out recently about maybe some VR, like discoveries in audio with VR. And that piqued my interest today too. So those of you working in game audio with VR, I think that's kind of related to maybe some of the things that Wwise has kind of done, and they're giving away some of their discoveries, if you will, about it. Yeah, exactly. By thank you, Daniel, by Stefan Schutz. And yes, he is very, very knowledgeable. He has worked on multiple projects, so it would probably really be a good read. I'm personally going to be picking that up right after GDC. There's 2 books I want to get. There's 2 books, and there's one book by Damian Kaspar, who we've had on the show before, I think about 3 years ago. And I believe his book, I have it on my board here. He has 2 books. Look up Damian Kaspar. If you can't find him, he does game audio. He has 2 books. Pick up his book and then check out this one too. The more game audio you read, the better. Just right here. Hold on. There we go. Just right there, minus that looker thing there, is all game audio books. Like, I'm reading. I'm getting my knowledge on. You should be too. So, Wwise. Be wise about it. Where's my hat? Dang, the one time I don't have my hat. I have stuff. I'm not prepared, but next time I'm on, I promise I will be as prepared as I can be right now. I wanted to make sure I had some good topics for you guys and talk about the show and whatnot. So let's see. Oh, this is super cool. So I don't know if you guys know, but recently there has been a workshop that's come up, and it's with Chris Velasco. And I would just want to give you guys a idea of who Chris. If you're not familiar with Chris Velasco and who he is a real game or composer overall. He's done multiple projects. I'm just gonna hop in his IMDb right here. I know that he did a little bit of God of War, which is what I know him for. He's also worked on Bloodborne. He has, let's go down the list here. He's doing Agents of Mayhem, which came out last year, 2017. Let's see what else. I wish I could just click on that little thing. Oh, he's part of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. I'm just not going to go through the entire thing. Oh, it's not that much. Maybe some just pick out the ones you guys are familiar with. Darksiders, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine, and let's see what's another one you guys might know. Starcraft 2 Heart of the Swarm. So he's really prominent video game composer. I actually met him my first GDC, which was 4 years ago. And it was a really cool experience because I thought I was going to meet him at a signing when I was just getting started in the industry. And he was at GDC, and I'm like, oh my God, you're Chris Velasco. I was trying to meet you at the signing, but the other composer was there, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh yeah. I was like, where are you based? He's like, I'm in LA, come on down. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So that was my first experience meeting him. But with that being said, July 9th through the 11th of this year, he is doing a Composing for Video Games workshop. Now, I just want to just do this as a small caveat to you guys because I got excited and I was like, oh, this might be, I work professionally in the industry, but I always like to kind of go and check maybe some things out, maybe some things I may have learned that I could refine or polish or make better. And this, I believe, is in Austria. So that's really, really, really far. Let's see. I believe I just want to give you guys the specifics of where it's going to be before I give you the other details. I could have just read his bio. Let's see here. Oh, man. Oh, boy. Okay, I think I have to do the application. So I'm just going to do that really quick with you guys while I'm here. If I do the application. Okay, so let me just break this down. It's going to be, excuse my German or whatever. The location is in Baden near Vienna. So I said Austria, but it's going to be near Vienna. Okay, so back to the details. Yeah, it's way out of the way. Michael in the chat says, I guess way out of the way. I know, right? Well, who can sponsor us to get there? But check it out. This is how cool it's actually going to be interesting. So it says, learn how to compose for video games. Dive into composing for video games, hands-on workshop. Learn some of the advanced techniques of writing music for this exciting genre. We will also cover how to land a gig and more importantly, how to keep it, which is important because there are some people who get on projects and then they realize it's not for them and they just ghost. That happens quite often in the game industry, at least that I know. In the film industry, I just know they get fired. They just say poof, and Danny Elfman was on one, and next thing you know, Brian Tyler's on the other, and I don't know what happened. Sometimes you get the details, sometimes you don't. In terms of the video game industry, sometimes the relationships don't work out with the developer and the composer, and they split. So they go on to say about like how it's not like scoring for film or television. Yes, we know. So some of the topics that they'll include is creating a perfect loop, layering stems to create multiple cues out of a track, layering stems to learning to edit yourself when less is more in interactive skills, and writing music to nothing while the game is in development, which is interesting because sometimes you actually get the game design document, you don't have a build, you don't have art, and you have to use your imagination. So that's just kind of wild, right? You're like, what do you do? So hopefully you have enough creativity to learn about your composing chops, which are actually, I will share with you 4 secrets today of what I'm going to start doing by that. I don't think it was covered in one of the earlier Game Audio Hour episodes about writer's block, but I was driving today and I came up with at least 3. So I think I'm going to off the top of my head, remember those and share them with you guys today. And so it goes on to say, once you've got a handle on these basic properties of the game music, they will discuss how to actually get a job writing music for a game, demoing for project, which is super important because there's a lot of competition out there and you want to give your best demo and put your best foot forward, and how to turn one gig into a career and how to make money writing for games. So they're going to go over scores for games, examine how they were able to tackle the challenges of writing for games, and some of the scores that he did at this that he's bringing along is Overwatch, which is huge. You guys love Overwatch out there, I know. Bloodborne, which I'm going to start playing soon. Got it up there somewhere. And Battleborn, H1Z1 will be discussed. And either prior composition experience is needed or not, or a professional, it doesn't matter. Class is limited to 15 participants, so it's super small. It's going to be super tight. I want to go over the pricing. So I'm looking at it. It's 480 euros for 3 days. Holy moly. Wowzers. That's a lot, right? And you've got to get to, where is it again? Vienna. You've got to get to Vienna while paying 480 euros for 3 days. Okay, so start the Patreon now. Go do the GoFundMe now. Do the Indiegogo while you're doing that. Start mowing some lawns. Make sure you pick up some extra hours because it's going to take a lot. And yeah, that's enough. So that's all the information I have for you. If you're interested, hey, maybe you're in Europe already and you're listening to this podcast, and I know because we have some overseas listeners, and you're like, wow, that's for me. Sucks to be you, Americans or South Americans. You can go to musicshop.com/composing for video games, and it's composing-for-video-games/. If you put in just what I did, Chris Velasco, that's CRIS Velasco, V as in Vivian, ELASCO, composing for video games, Hollywood Music Workshop in Google, something will come up of that nature. Should say Hollywood Music Workshop 2018. Man, excuse me. Gotta drink a little bit of water. So that is the news for that. Oh yeah, definitely, Michael, in the chat. It will be amazing for people in Europe. We used to have one here. Oh, well, maybe this will pique your interest. So we actually kind of have something like that here. And I did attend one of these last year, and it happened to be Jason Graves, who scored Dead Space and The Order 1886, along with Tomb Raider 2013. And I'm not sure if you know, hey, Nick. So I'm not sure if you know, but the Academy of Scoring Arts has a workshop that you can do in the Los Angeles backyard. So it's about $25. You get to every session that you go. So you can choose a Friday. It mostly happens on Fridays around 10 a.m. or something like that. Not familiar. It's been a while since I've been there. So please don't take this as gospel. But there is a workshop in Burbank at a little like restaurant that a lot of film composers and trailer composers and production composers and music library composers and everybody who's composing goes down, and we study scores. They study Ravel. They have guest speakers there, like they had Jason Graves. They also had Ron Jones. He did the Star Trek series from the TV show, and they not the latest one, but something back, I think, in maybe the 90s. I don't think the 60s one, but yeah, because Jerry Goldsmith did that one. See, I'm not really good with film composers. But anyways, they have guest speakers. You go down there, you pay $25, you get a little bit of breakfast, you may get lunch as well. You get to hang out and learn about stuff and study the scores and get better and of that nature and learn, and then you build a network and you're part of the community, and it's really, really cool. I really enjoyed it. I met a few people there. I've made a few friends, and I don't go every Friday. I maybe go once a year, only because like I'm just kind of picking through what they actually do. But I can give you guys a idea of who was there recently. I know they had the composer there from Get Out last time, and they also sell some really interesting composition technique books there too. Just want to give you guys the actual information. So if you go to academyofscoringarts.org, you can see all of the events that they have. Oh, they have a library too. Let's see. You can join their newsletter, which is good. I'm a part of their newsletter, so I get their stuff. Gary Scheinman was there. So 2 video game composers were there so far that I know. I think Penka Kunava was there too, so that's 3. And they also had other composers that were there as far as guest interviews and speakers and whatnot. What was the most recent one? Just double check here with some things. So L.A. Ravel with Tim Davies, March 10th. What do you guys know? You're in luck. So flash news for you guys. I think we're gonna have a show. Yo, this is fresh before the next show. So on March 10th, which is a Saturday. A Saturday. Yes, yes, it is. Okay, so they moved it to Saturday for this from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. If Vitello's Italian restaurant, there is going to be a study with Tim Davies, the Prokofiev, and Alexander Nevsky. So the fee is $25 plus a $2.28 service fee. So that comes out to be $27.28. And if you go to academyofscoringarts.org, you can get all this information, sign up for the newsletter. They really have good stuff. I really highly recommend it. So if you can't make the Chris Velasco trip to Vienna, then you at least have this. So that wasn't on my list, but I thought I gave you an alternative for both hemispheres of the earth for so far that I could do. So I want to talk about today. Actually, I want to double check one thing. I want to talk about a little bit. Daniel Kim had mentioned, one of our listeners in the chat. He had mentioned something about like going through software and instruments and patches and whatnot. And I think I had tweeted out to him that KVR is your friend. And then we also here at Game Audio Hour tweeted out to him saying like you can also check out Reverb. So I want to talk about that a little bit. And I want to say thanks to Alex May, shout out to him. And he had earlier Game Audio Hour episodes. They talked a lot about like KVR. And so KVR is like a music centered blog. You can ask about gear questions or soft, but it mostly deals with like synthesizers and patches and plugins and all that good stuff. And you can get a lot of good like user presets. You can find a lot of good there are programmers that make like third-party patch synths and plugins of that nature. So you may not be from Native Instruments. It may be from it's just their creation of what they wanted to make for like a synthesizer plugin. And some of them are really, really good. In fact, some of them that I've got, and one of them that I use is a Wok pitch shifter. Wok spelled W-O-K. And he or she has made a lot of really good stuff. And I've definitely used that on quite a lot of my game audio projects that I've been using, because I had checked out Sound Toys and I had checked out Yuhi, and at the time the pricing wasn't right and they want to make you buy the bundle, and I'm like, you know what, I just need this one pitch shifter. I just need this pitch shifter to do one thing. I don't need it to be cheap. I don't need it to be confusing. I just need it to do it. And went on KVR and looked some things up, and voila, what do you know? So KVR is really good for that if you want to. And then you can, their pricing is reasonable too. You can find some stuff there for about, like $60, $30, $40. Donate to them and, help out the developer who's doing stuff. I think maybe that's how Valhalla maybe got started. I'm not sure. For those of you, who might have used some Valhalla presets before, plugins. But if you're getting started and you want to get some ideas about just experimenting, I think that's definitely the place to go and get deep into and add things to your palette that other professionals or game audio enthusiasts or hobbyists are not using at all. I mean, now that we're telling you about it, you're like, everybody's gonna go there. But you know what? Everybody has their own taste. Everybody's not going to use the same thing. Everybody's not going to use the same synthesizer the way you use it. You're going to create what you create from here and make it into reality a different way. And so I say that to say that there's also, if once you may get tired of using software stuff, to maybe go to reverb.com or Craigslist or whatever your or local provider is for audio gear and check out their stuff. So like Guitar Center or something, I think they might have a rental thing that they can do their program. And with Reverb, you can look up different synthesizers that you may want, such as like things from Moog, things from maybe like Electron or where of that nature, and get really, really, really nitty gritty sounds that you definitely people are not going to be able to tap into. But that's the problem, right? It's an outboard unit versus something you can download right away. You don't have to wait for it and things of that nature. But when you get that analog sound and you get that outboard here, it definitely is going to stand out in your production, and it will make it better as long as you use it well. But most of the time it is built to stand out and cut through some really good stuff and mixes, and it will shine. And that investment of, a little 150, 175, 300, 500, 1200 and up is going to definitely pay off. It's kind of like with expensive microphones of that nature and stuff. You just have to justify what you think the cost is and what you think is going to make your production and your sound be better. And so maybe if you're starting out, you can get like a couple free, free to low end synthesizers and stuff, and make them sound big. Because don't get me wrong, those free and those mid-tier synthesizers that are virtual, people really know. If people are very talented out there, they will make them sound like $3,000 synthesizer. And all it takes is a couple different tricks of the EQ, a couple different tricks of the reverb. The next thing you know, that little free sounds darn near close to something that someone else paid $5,000 for, like their new Quark Triton or something like that. So don't get it twisted. People, if you know how to use it, then work it. But I say that to say also, you can also get more cool, distinctive sounds out of it if you know what you want to do with that sound. So if you're on a specific game audio project, maybe you're looking for something sci-fi, do some research about the unit, maybe see what projects those were on, and ask some questions online. It's kind of scary to ask things online, right? I want to kind of talk about this briefly. It's kind of scary to ask things online. There are trolls there now. There are haters. There are people who've got to be right, and they want to correct you with everything. And it's one thing to correct you like politely, but there's some people who are just like jerk about it, and they were like, "Well, I don't know if you meant this, and I don't know if you meant that." My advice to you, for what I've kind of learned, if you're going to be learning to be a professional in this, is to not take it personally, as hard as that is. So yes, it's scary to ask some of these questions when you're doing the research, but you know what? They can't see your face, and if you choose like a really random screen name or something like that, that's not going to like track you too well, then at the end of the day, who really cares? Just let them mouth off and get tough on the keyboard. But don't let it stifle your research when you're looking for units that you may think are going to work for a certain game audio project that you're on. Maybe you're doing something that is space heavy, so you're going to definitely want some wide pads and some wide synth textures of that nature, which brings me to knowing about the Rolling Cloud. But first, before I continue, I want to thank our sponsors, Izotope, because they also make cool stuff too. And actually, I think you know what? I bought Iris over the what is it? I say Good Friday. I'm thinking Easter now. I'm in tune with the calendar, but I want to say Black Friday. And Black Friday, I bought Iris 2. And so I've yet to use that, but that is something that I'm definitely going to have to use now because it's so cool. You can take different parts of different sounds and put that in and make a whole new instrument out of it. And so that definitely works with maybe a space type of sound game that you're going to be working with before I get into what I was going to talk about. But I want to thank our sponsors, Izotope. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for all you do for us. I believe we're going to have a giveaway this month. I got to check with the leaders up there, that are part of the show, to talk to them and see what's going on. But we will have something for you hopefully this month. It's going to be a little crazy. Some of us will be at GDC. I think almost all of us will be, but we will definitely get it to you if we can. So with that being said, I found this video by this composer called Rich Douglas, and they did a demo of the JV 1080. And this is really, 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 really good stuff. And I highly implore you to check it out. I will put it in the show notes. But if you want to search for it, geez, man, I don't know. Can I get this? The one thing it doesn't let me, I didn't do the admin thing properly, but I'm going to try and post it in the chat. It won't let me. Okay. So the best thing I'm going to try to tell you is maybe look up Rich Douglas video Rolling Cloud JV 1080. You can find that on YouTube. He does a really good job of not talking a lot. He just plays the different patches, and the patches definitely gave me a lot of inspiration ideas just by listening to what he can do for the with what he had. And I'm not sure if you remember from an earlier episode that we did, maybe not that long ago, maybe about three no. Sometime last year, I think we talked about the Rolling Cloud, and that is really cool because they have legacy instruments of things that they have come out with and made virtual versions of them. And so for a monthly subscription, you can subscribe to that and you can demo some of their synthesizers and download those and have them in your projects as long as you pay whatever subscription that is per month. And so you have access to that. I had a free one and I goofed and I was busy and I just dropped the ball on that one. I'll just be honest. I dropped the ball and I should have nabbed it. I should have nabbed it. I should have got that free one because they have some really, really, really good stuff in there. So I highly suggest doing the Rolling Cloud if you can, but check that video out because like I said, you hear a lot of people, they do demos, almost like a 10-minute intro, but not him. He gets right into it after probably like 3 to 4 minutes. And then the rest of it, I think it's like a 14-minute video. He's just going through the patches and maybe talks like one time in between those minutes. So I think that's really, really good. Those would be good. Not for just like space games, but maybe underwater themes. If you're thinking in terms of like sound design, you can get a little bit more creative and adding different styles and maybe getting some stuff you got from KVR or running it through something that you got on Reverb. And then you're just doing like this cross patching thing, right? And so you're getting deeper and deeper into what works. And next thing you know, you have a really awesome sounding track that you can just pitch to anybody who was looking for that stuff, and now you have that in your arsenal. So I wanted to share that with you and let you guys know about that. So the next thing I want to touch on is actually I have a treat for you guys. So I think Native Instruments sent me a voucher for something in their store. Let me see if I can find it. Of course, I can't find it while I'm looking so fast right now. Oh, I found some other stuff. But I have this e-voucher that, oh, I found it now. Okay. So I got this. I don't know how many people have received this, but if you already have, then, you know, this doesn't apply to you. So don't mind it. But if you have not received it and you're looking to possibly pick up something extra for your Native Instruments expansions, I have an e-voucher for you. It's 25% off though. Nothing totally free, but I have a code. So if you are watching this, I will give it to the person who can answer. I have a fun thing for you guys. Give it to the person who can answer this question. What is the name of the Swedish composer known as the Lizard King? And then you have to also answer, what was the name of the musical style that Gustav Grefberg and Joachim Falk invented? So if you tweet at me at Chase Bethea, or tweet at Game Audio Hour with the hashtag, was it e-voucher for Native Instruments, then I'll know and I'll send it to you. But you got to use it today. So if you really want it, cool. If not, it's only the one cool thing's that one. Bob, what's up, man? I bet you do know. Actually, just at Game Audio Hour the answer, and you got to use the voucher today if you're interested. If not, no big deal. But I'll be having, if I can, I don't know how it'll be with other people on. It's only my solo show today, so I'm filling up the time as best as I can. I have cool questions like I test, I do audio quizzes, things of that nature because I'm a nerd and I like that stuff. And I thought you guys might like that stuff too. Because originally I was going to actually say, like, who can name this song? I don't have that whole setup here going on. So if you know it, do the tweet. I'll send you the code. It's 25% off to the Native Instruments expansions. Get your stuff, update your palette, live on, rock on. So move on. I said I would share some writer's block techniques that I've come up with, and I know that I'm kind of struggling with right now, that I want to share with you all. And the techniques that I kind of came up with, I'm actually going to show, let's see. I'm going to show you a couple things. I'm going to show you a rhythm book. I'm going to show you a theory book. And then I'm going to show, because this is what came to my mind when I was in the car. And then I'm going to think of the one last thing that I was trying to do. Okay, so the first things first, if you're ever stuck with the writer's block and you have to sit there and get through it, make sure you have a theory book close to you. I use Tonal Harmony by Koska and Payne. This is the 6th edition. This is the one when I was in school that I used. This one got me. This one actually is really, really good. And I've got actual multiple tabs that are labeled with non-chord tones, secondary dominance, instrument ranges, modes, omnibus, things of that nature. It's really in depth. It goes over everything from diatonic harmony to chromatic harmony to 20th century type of stuff. So post-tonal theory. It's not too bad of a read. It's not hardcore. Interdeterminacy. So we got aleatory thing. Look at this graph here. Look at this. Look at this. Let's see what's in the chat. So Mike often says, did anyone see the Walmart commercial with Hans Zimmer fighting writer's block? No, I didn't see it. Interesting though that he would have it since he's got like an arsenal of people. Just like on someone's door and be like, hey, so Lauren, what are you doing right now? You know, I'm having a good time. You got any patches that you worked on? That thing? Hey, Hugh, not Hugh, Henry. Hey, Henry, do you have any stuff? What you working on? Let me sit here. Oh, what are you doing? Okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, that was really good. Okay, and then he goes back. No, I didn't see that one, but I will check it out. Michael. Thank you. So back to this. This is one of the things that I use to get through it. I just I think about what I'm going to, what is my problem. This is the first thing that people do normally, right? Like if you're not good in theory, you might have a theory book, or if you're doing something that like maybe, okay, so if you don't have a theory book, but you don't like to create music while writing theory, then this is it. Then this helps. This is good. Second, I have a rhythm book. Why do I have a rhythm book? Because it has rhythm patterns. So what I do is I just clap these out, play them with my two hands. And I come up with different rhythms because guess what? That's usually the foundation of the music. You can come up with the melody second. You can sing, you can noodle, you can fiddle, but your rhythms are actually going to be most interesting and they're going to catch on if you just nail them down. So I have like a couple different rhythm books that I just flip through, I circle, and I check out. And the other thing that I do is I sing a lot. So I just pick maybe a couple different songs to go on YouTube and I type in what I think what my first thing is, like, how do I feel right now? I want chill wave. So I type in and do chill wave and I kind of think about, like, man, I want to like, listen, I just kind of just sit there and let it maybe like come to me. And I find that kind of just give me a standoff approach. It helps me kind of get away outside of what I'm trying to do. And some people will be like, well, then you're kind of subconsciously maybe like cheating or something like that. Well, maybe if you think you are, listen to something really radical. Maybe go listen to some metal music, something that you're uncomfortable with. How about that for writer's block? Because maybe you might not want to hear it and it'll give you an idea to work through the writer's block faster if you don't have anything. I'm laughing because I've done that for quite a few times, and I was like, "Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna turn this on. If I don't like it, I'm just gonna listen to it no matter what. I'm just gonna get through it." And it's happened in some cases where it's worked out for my benefit. I'm like, "You know what? This is actually pretty cool." And this turn out was just like, "No, I don't want to listen to this anymore." And then I go back and I sit there and I try to come up with something else. But what does happen is a break. That's my other tip is obviously like you take a break from what you're doing, you go out for a walk, you go for a run, you go make some food, like a nice snack, maybe go call a friend. Oh, those are my favorite. Call a friend, especially if they pick up. Who picks up nowadays, right? Someone just told me today, I think it was like really, 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 he's not a millennial, so he has to be like what Generation Z. He was saying, oh, texting back people is a thing of the past. Yikes! Like, holy crap, if you guys aren't texting back, how are we communicating then, right? So I covered you have your theory book, you have your rhythm book, you listen to some wild music or some music that pops in your mind to kind of get you out to go take a break. So that's what that's for. There's one more I'm missing that's important that I thought of. Oh, so check out this. I learned this in school. You practice your intervals. So that's number 5. There is a website that I think I'm going to share with you guys now where I just do like normal exercises and I just do like ear training even before I compose. And I listen to dominant 7 chords or minor major 7 chords or the 11th chords of that nature, and I try to identify them by playing them, or I do interval exercises, so I give myself a test. And the test comes from Teoria.com, so that's Teoria.com. And you can click through, you can learn theory on your own, you can learn exercises. I use this when I'm teaching some of my private students when I'm doing like game audio of that nature. So just for like ear training purposes in terms of like keeping your chops sharp. And I find that this helps because then you can challenge yourself to write based off a interval. So if it's major second, you're thinking like happy birthday, or maybe you're thinking something else. And if you're thinking of a minor third, maybe you're thinking like green sleeves. So then try to write something away from green sleeves. But as long as you know the intervals that you can connect to, then you can branch off and make something a little bit stronger. And I do know that's how some Japanese melodies actually start off with a strong, strong intervals. And if you do if you do this every day, you're going to get really, really better. You're almost going to be a freak. I hate to say it. I don't know any other way to say it. But so I was at my girlfriend's house yesterday, right? And she was getting makeup done, and the fan was doing a certain rhythm. And I looked at the fan and she's like, oh, is that bothering you? And I was like, no, it's making this cool rhythm. And I was writing the rhythm down the fan. And if I was listening to I found a business card that I was looking for my GDC like meetings and whatnot. And I felt it and I liked the sound of that card. And I was like, oh man, the sound, if I stretch this, it would make this cool interval melody. So I do it almost every time before I compose. I try to do it every day, and it actually helps with writer's block a lot. That is, I think, the 5th or the 6th tip. And there's, I think, one more I'm going to give you guys. And I'm trying to think of it right now. These are the things that I use that help me. Oh, that's right. Okay. So check this out. You have 7 notes in the scale, right? You have do, re, mi, fa, sol. Oh, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, so 8th, but the octave, I'm not going to count that. So there's 7. Let's just say 7. Write down 7 write down 1 through 7 in any order outside of the new order that you normally would. Just whatever comes to your mind. So like picking lottery numbers, but it has to, it has to just use all the numbers 1 through 7. So you should have 7 numbers and it should be in any order. So I'll just try it with you right now. So it'll be, yeah, let's just do it right now. So I'm going to do it right now. So 6, 5, whatever comes in my head, 2, 1, 7. Okay. So 4. So okay, I got 7. So I got 6, 5, 3, 2, 1, 7, 4. So here are my numbers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a mode. And I'm going to put, there's a lot of modes out there, right? So this is super cool. So this is how I came up with different melodies when I'm really like, oh, the fiddling sometimes just does not work. The fiddling does not work. The noodling doesn't work. If you have input record, it works because then you could just do whatever. You're like, oh, that's super cool. It's like when I used to freestyle, I'd be like recording myself and then it would work or it wouldn't work. But if you do this in mode, it gets super interesting. Then if you don't like the numbers you wrote, you can change the numbers around in any order or fashion. It's kind of like those picture square puzzles where you had to move the picture around to get to make the bigger picture or this or whatever you had in the squares. I don't know if you guys remember that. Please let me know if you do. I feel like I'm just saying whatever. But if you do remember those picture square puzzles, those are super cool. This is the same thing. If you end up writing like a straight up cool melody off of it, boom, you're out of writer's block right away. Because then all you have to do is just figure out your harmony and your chord progression, and you're off again. It's so fast. That is tip, I think, number 7. That is a super cool exercise. I think the last two were probably the best I gave you guys. And I believe there are some, if you just look online for modes, if you don't know like your modes, your Dorian, your Phrygian, your Lydian, of that nature, and so on and so forth. Also, just write a mode that you never wrote in before, write in an interval that you never used that much, and just keep going from there. Let's see. Also, that's it. Yeah, that's it. I don't have any other tips besides that. If you guys in the chat have any tips, Bob, Daniel Kim, Mike Hoffman, if you guys have any tips, I'm happy to share with the people online now that are definitely watching. Let me know like what you guys think. Are you guys using any of this stuff? I know Bob didn't know that theory books could help with writer's block. Yes, absolutely. I cannot. Oh, so check this out. So then, oh wow, open my book and look what I have here. Apparently I found the chord progression that I liked and I wrote it and I just put them in there. Let's see. So I'm going to go over the modes real quick. So I just wrote that. And what I could do for you guys is I can actually write this in Beatbox with the chiptune beatbox.co, write this, pick a mode and then write that and try and even challenge myself more, because then you have limitations, right? Sound palette limitations. That's another way to kind of get out of the block if you need to. So yeah, you have Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. So normally I believe the Aeolian is just the natural minor and the Ionian is just the major of that nature. But oh yeah, so in here, just want to show you guys what I'm looking at. If you look here, these are all the modes in the book, right? And I have this bookmark here. These yellow tabs really come in handy. I'm super organized when I want to get to stuff, because when I'm in these binds, I gotta write stuff fast. And so you can write in major pentatonic, you can write in minor pentatonic, you can write in Hiroyoshi, you can do all sorts of stuff. Apparently, Debussy Nuages from the Nocturnes wrote in a specific pentatonic melody mode. It also talks about synthetic scale. You have octatonic you can do based off of those numbers that I wrote, or that you wrote if you did the exercise with me. You have you have the hexatonic, and you just have a lot of choices. Modes plus numbers plus rhythms. I don't know what more you can do. You could probably write a whole album in 2 weeks with that information. And of course, like modulation is the other way. So that is all like I said, if you guys have any questions or any of things of that nature, maybe you want to know what your topics suggestions for your week, because we like responding to what you guys want to know. I mean, I do have topics for the show for the guys to kind of go off of and everything like that, and they come up with their own stuff they want to bring to. But if you guys have any suggestions or anything that you want to know about topics, anything that you're dealing with your workflow within game audio right now, let us know. And absolutely let us know for sure when we're at GDC, because guess last time I was there, I was on the show yet. But when I was there, they did the show and it was amazing. Like there was super big turnout and everybody like we kind of like chimed in questions and all nature, and we did it like in this hotel lobby, and it was just so just relaxing, and it was just such a fun experience. But with that, I wanted to share with you this book thing I put on my Amazon list. I know we're getting close to the end, but I want to share with you something on my list. So I found about this book today. You guys might have to, because I know the chats are super up to it, super into and up to date with that stuff. So there's two books. Oh, actually, no, there's one book. So Designing Audio Objects for Max MSP and PD, Pure Data. So that's what I believe it is. So check that book out if you're into Pure Data. If you're into Max MSP, I'm definitely going to be fiddling around with that stuff. There's 3 programs I'm going to get into during this month, even more. One I can't remember right now. Excuse me. The other is that book, the Pure Data, and then the other one is the Family Tracker. Okay, cool. So I looked it up on Amazon. I believe it's only, it's actually kind of hefty, $50. Hey, when do student discounts come into that play? We get student discounts for getting the book. They don't give you that, do they? If you guys are students, I'm just saying, get all you can. Designing Audio Objects from Max/MSP and PD, Computer Music and Digital Data by Eric Lyon. So I'm gonna we got a question, and it's from Bob. So he asked, how do you make it so that a song doesn't modulate around too much, but modulates if it kind of needs to? So modulate too much, but modulates if it kind of needs to. So I'm going to try and answer your question the best way I can. And then I'm going to talk about the games that I'm playing, and then I think we're going to be good. Oh, snap. I think I started too. Okay, so I'm going to answer your question, and I'm going to tell you games. All right, so there's 2 things you can do. You can use the 2-5-1 chord progression, which is a jazz chord progression, which really is I'll do my best to explain this. If you want to go to B flat, I should make this simpler myself. If you want to go to E, you're going to do the 2 chord in C. If you're in C and you go to E, do the 2 chord in C, which is the minor 2. So the 2 chord in C, so that would be DFA. And then you would do the 5 chord of E, right? Right. So that would be D sharp and F with the dominant 7 of, so if you say you're already in the key E, then your 5 would be the B major, the B dominant 7 chord. And then you resolve it to E. And that's one way to modulate. Is always doing the 2-5-1, and that's kind of like in the circle of fifths. Or you can do the classical tradition thing of a pivot chord. This would be a little bit difficult to explain, but I'll do my best. The pivot chord is when you have a common chord that is between 2 keys that you can use. So I probably should cover this a little bit. It's like the last question, but it's going to take a little bit more. If you have, I can't know the theory off the top of my head, I have to write it down. But if Point is, if you're finding that you're in the key of C and have a chord that, so let's just take it, you want to do the relative minor. I believe the sixth chord, which is A minor, also fits in A minor, which is 1, right? So that will be your pivot chord. But you have to use, again, a dominant chord to tonicize the new key that you're going to be in, to say, this is the new key I'm going to, and now this is the new key I'm in. Or you know what? You can just do what Beethoven did and just go to that key. Those are your 3 things that you can do. So you have the 2-5-1 chord progression, which I'm happy to explain definitely in more detail if you want to talk about it for sure or anything like that. You can do the pivot chord, which is the classical type of progression, or you can do just a straight up modulation and just decide. Usually there's like a diminished chord modulation or there's a common tone modulation. So I remember Oscar Rujo, who did the video game score Lords of Shadow, Castlevania Lords of Shadow on PS3, which is a phenomenal score. It even got a 10 out of 10. If you have go listen to that score, that's a great score to study. Oscar Narujo did an amazing job. He uses a common tone modulation that is amazing. And tweet at me, specifically at Chase Bethea. I will show you that song. I can't remember it right now, and I know the show's going to end soon. So I will show you that example and also try to show you the example of the pivot or anything like that. I hope that answers your question, but and to be honest, for me, I just modulate it. I just like I find that the common tone is a little bit easier and the 2-5-1 is quicker. I try to do the pivot chord. It takes too long because I didn't master it right and I didn't have enough time to perfect it. But now that I can use it more, I can do more with it. So I'll be happy to do that. Still working on transcription for the Final Fantasy Tactics Adventure. Still working hard on that. I'm getting close. I'm actually in the polishing phases to get that done. It's gonna be a crazy month and all that stuff. But before I go, I want to talk about what I've been playing because that's important. So I played recently Lifeless Planet, which Rich Douglas did like so much, man. He did like the new Shadowgate, which is a super great score from the NES and the Game Boy Color, but he did the new Shadowgate, and then he did the Stranger Things one on Android, and then he did Lifeless Planet. The Lifeless Planet is really, really cool. It's about you're stranded on this planet, you land, it's on PS4, I think it's on PC as well. I think it's like $20. I highly recommend it. It's a really, really good score that immerses you. It doesn't play all the time. So if you played in Tomb Raider in 1996, Nathan McCree's score, which is one of my favorites, that music doesn't play throughout the entire level. There's certain pockets you just have the world atmosphere kind of going on. This is exactly like that. It just plays the world atmosphere, and when there are certain great moments or things that are going to kind of happen, the score comes in and then it leaves you. Then it comes back and then just leaves it. The other thing is the story is really interesting. It sucks you in. It has a really good story, so I highly recommend that. I just finished playing that. Another one is called Archeon. It's Acheron, sorry. It's Acheron. And this is really has really cool, like interesting, like music, dynamic music, and voiceover, like in terms of like the dialogue. It's pretty awesome. So with that being said, thank you guys for sticking in there with me. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys in the chat. Bob, Daniel Kim, Michael Hoffman, all the other watchers, you incognito chatties that are there. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We will let you know if we have a show next week. So stay tuned to our Twitter, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check out some of our previous episodes. 165, we just talked about social media networking and demo reels, and before that we talked about the post NAM show. So if you're looking for some gear stuff to maybe get into, you can see what we actually saw there or we didn't. And until then, we will catch you next time. We'll see you later. Have a good night. Keep making great game audio.